It may look like a boring grey January day, but it is in fact very exciting because it is new boat day. I'm going to be rigging up the new RS800, which we've just refitted. I'll be showing you all the bimbles that I've done to it. A new ship for the 2024 season. I'll be sailing alongside Guy, and yeah, here's the boat tour. So Mozzy from the past here, and I think the thing I was just going to show you is this boat breaker, and I've just used a soft shackle to the jib halyard and then all low friction rings just to create this nice purchase system. The reason I've done that is just these boat breakers obviously go on when you pull on tension, but then as soon as the force stays in, they get left on the beach. No point having expensive blocks here on a bit of equipment used once a day and then leave around lying in the boat park. Starting from the bow, I've already shown you the boat breaker, which is quite nice, but a few of the things I've put on. We've really doubled down on going for the thinnest ropes we can possibly put on the boat. So most of the lines are 2.5 mil. Also using slightly smaller blocks and some of these steel sheaves where we've got high loads. Got the 4:1 jib sheet, which is a bit of an upgrade on the standard 3:1. Gives you two things. First of all, a little bit more purchase, obviously, but with a 4:1 cascade, there's no extra block, so it's more purchase, no extra friction, and actually gives you a little bit finer adjustment of the jib. Basically any rope we're not touching, we've gone super thin. This jib sheet is 2.5 mil Dyneema, and actually to really press the point, we've got the taper from the jib sheet that's in your hand with the outer braid through into the inner core of that rope and then into this blue, which is 2.5 mil. And that just gives us, well, two things: thinner rope, buying just a Dyneema is cheaper as well, and the other thing is it gives us an extra reference point. Very often when I'm trapezing upwind from over here, it's hard to see the clew of the sail. Sometimes you can see a little bit up towards the top, but having these reference points down in the boat of where this splices, this taper relative to the cleat, and where this taper is relative to the cleat, but also these bars at the front, you can keep an eye on that, see where that goes to, and just kind of have your go-to kind of calibrations. Okay, moving back in the boat, jib sheet, jib track. We've got this Allen jib track with these really hefty bearings on, and that gives us a nice smooth track. Again, going for this steel sheaves on some of these blocks which see a high load. Like I said, we doubled down on thinner lines this year, and then just using a soft shackle attachment to the clew of the jib there, but using this kind of Dyneema abrasion cover, outer cover in a lot of places now, where we're using thinner lines just to get us through that. But I mean, you can see we're not even sailing at the moment. There's a reasonable amount of tension on that jib sheet. Right, what else have we got? Split caps, another recent upgrade for the 800s. Instead of having them come down centrally, you've got them split into two sides, so they're adjusted independently, but it stops the caps sliding over the mast and ruining your lacquer. Call onto the wire, and then using Allen's low friction ring there as the top turning point, and then just a standard cleat with a low friction ring on the back just to captivate the line, and then down to the old block which everyone else has to the fixing. If we look in the front of the boat, one of the slight upgrades from last time, if you can see it in there, is this Allen high-low block. Now this block right in the bow, that's the turning point for the launch line for the Spinnaker pole, and once the Spinnaker's out, it takes a huge amount of load, but obviously it's a tiny block, and what we do on our 8 is replace this cheap block at the front with a deck eye, and then put a high-low block in there, which is basically indestructible, and that should not go anywhere. Moving backwards on the mast here, we have kind of the data center. So I've made this little mount for my Vaqueros. This just velcros onto the mast with some that really strong, I'm not sure what they call it, but the really strong velcro and some pro grip. That's super sturdy. Got the GoPro on there for recording from the mast backwards, and then we're still using our tactic with this Carbotech cover, simply because it's easier to read with the sides on. If we can figure a way of putting our Vaqueros further forward in the boat where the crew can see it, maybe on the deck down there, then I think we might start doing that instead. One thing to show you is our downhaul's a little bit different to other people. So we have a 2 4-to-1 cascade at the front of the boat on the mast here, but then we have our last bit of the cascade down on the deck, and then this elastic is an elastic which goes all the way forward, and that's just a release elastic so that when you let the Cunningham off, it pulls that block forward in the boat. And sometimes it takes a little time for the sail to work its way up the mast track, so that just gets all the line completely released when you release it. Then once you bear off and go downwind for say, the then sail can slowly move up the mast. Have moved to dog bones in a few more places on the boat this time. It serves the same purpose as a diamond knot in the kind of soft shackle, soft attachment, but these are a little bit more, or little easier to get like an accurate length on the piece of rope, because you can just do a straight splice around it rather than having to account for the knot tightening up. The other thing on the theme of thinner rope, and all this is all, I think, 2.5mm Dyneema, and then we're just using chafe covers wherever possible to get a bit better wear out of it. Moving back in the boat still further, you can see the kicker cascade, and still using these calibration marks, which is a bit of Dyneema fed through and then just tied a half hitch and then back in itself. We use them looking at this block in the cascade, and these, so that's our downwind setting right there. Probably this is the only place on the boat now where we've got 3mm Dyneema on the kicker. Love these Allen blocks with the steel sheaves when you need something a little bit stronger, but you don't want to go to the expense of getting one of these high load. This is actually a Titan high load, but if you don't want to go to that expense, but you want something a little bit stronger, these steel sheaves don't deform so much. So good option as a middle ground, and they're a lot cheaper than the really expensive ones. This is new for this boat. Before we had just a XHL, but this is the Titan block, and just really nice block. It's titanium, same principle though as the high load, where it's kind of got this moves from being a plain bearing block to a ball bearing block depending on the load. And I've started attaching these where they go around the boom, again using this chafe cover, and then the actual soft shackle here kind of doubles through itself through this eye, opens up to form the crossover, which just keeps all the loads nicely aligned and this block properly orientated. We've also done away with the kite release elastic from in here. We found that using Allen's cleat, the springs are strong enough that this halyard doesn't drop into the cleat and re-cleat. So going back, this is a new thing from Allen, a little jib cleat block with the it's got bearings right at the edge, so you don't get any play in this. Really sturdy for uncleating and re-cleating, and that's important when you're way out here on the wire. You can't have something with play in, because if you have play in that, then as you go to uncleat it, the block will just move around. But with this, because it's so sturdy, super nice. Continuing to move backwards, we've actually gone for an auto ratchet, which is a smaller size on the main sheet this time, just simply tied up, lashed to the boom. Again, these same Allen auto ratchets, but we've just glued on, epoxied on a little hook so that we can use bungee to tie these blocks up instead of a spring underneath. The only thing we took off our old boat, because it's quite a personal preference, is the trapeze lines. You can see these a little bit worn, not brand new, but blue for the crew, red for the helm. What else is new? Oh yeah, new foot loops on this boat. It's I think before we had the Moat Sails ones, but these are from Shock Sailing, and they've just got a run of carbon in them, which just gives them a little bit more spring to stand up. This is the boat that I sail. Whilst it's been a bit quiet at the America's Cup and they've not been launching the boats, I thought I'd give you your fix and give you a little tour of my boat that we've just relaunched for our racing campaign. RS 800, and maybe I won't tie up the mainsail.